Good morning. Stephanie Lee, who lives on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, had already experienced a great deal of hardship even before being diagnosed with terminal cancer earlier this year. But it all led to an unlikely friendship that could not only give her a fighting chance at life, but a chance to make a difference in the world.
Showing all my memories, Marshall.
It seemed life couldn't possibly bring Stephanie Lee any more heartache.
These are the cards I got after your dad died.
Over the course of a year, the grandparents who raised her died in a car crash, and her husband, Terrence, was killed in Iraq.
You lose all these things back to back, and you're like, what's your purpose?
She was raising a 9-year-old daughter at the time and pregnant with her second when Hurricane Katrina set sights on the Gulf Coast.
I jumped in a truck and drove 5 hours away. I was actually having contractions while I was traveling.
Days later, baby Marshall came into the world. That was about the time Stephanie met Esquire magazine writer Mark Warren. What did you think about her?
An incredibly strong woman. My colleague and I had probably never been so affected by a single day of reporting in our lives.
After Esquire published the story about her ordeal, Mark and Stephanie lost touch. Years later, she found him again on Facebook.
She said, "You remember me?" I said, "I'll never forget you." And so we kept in kind of, the fitful, sporadic messages of Facebook until May 7th.
And I sent him, hey, Mark, found out I had cancer. Keep me in your prayers.
She had stage 4 colon cancer.
How much can one person lose?
I asked my doctor, was I going to live or die? He said, I can't answer that question. I said, well, what's my life expectancy? And he said, between 24 and 28 months.
What's your biggest fear?
Not being able to see my daughters grow up. Especially Marshall, because she's lost so much already. She doesn't deserve to lose anymore.
But Mark had an idea. His magazine had recently profiled a mathematician working to turn medicine on its head. A man who might be able to help Stephanie against the odds.
This a pretty amazing instrument.
Eric Schott runs Mount Sinai's Institute for Genomics and Multiscale Biology in New York. He and his team are using supercomputers to find personalized cures for disease, mapping a patient's genetic code, then collecting and analyzing massive amounts of biological and clinical data. They agreed to take on Stephanie's case. So you know a lot about Stephanie's cancer. More than the average doctor.
We know every single mutation that has occurred, what gene it has occurred in, the pathways that have been disrupted, the biological processes that have been disrupted. Most oncologists today, they'll get a very, very tiny fraction of the information that we generated on Stephanie will be available to them.
Now I have a team well over with probably 10, 15 people helping me with this fight.
And a supercomputer.
And a supercomputer.
And thousands of tiny fruit flies with tumors that match hers.
The fact that we can reconstruct the colon cancer tumor of a human in the fly model gives us a lot of power to screen that human tumor against all the existing therapeutics.
After testing every available drug on the flies, they came up with a customized cocktail they believe will wipe out her tumor.
It still hasn't hit me that what's going on could change the way cancer and other diseases can be treated in the future. It still hasn't hit me.
Before Stephanie can begin Schott's treatment, she has to give conventional chemotherapy a try. But she's already part of something much bigger than herself. What they learn from you could potentially save thousands, if not millions of lives down the line. It's pretty heady stuff.
Remember I said I didn't know what my purpose was? That's my purpose. I found my purpose.
And Stephanie's own fight against cancer is far from over. Despite the prognosis, the scientists in New York believe their custom cocktail could save her life. She believes it too. And once she finishes the so-called standard of care chemotherapy, she can begin that treatment.
Wow, Michelle Miller, thank you. The possibilities of that, when you think the changes that could happen.
Yeah, kudos to connecting those two and what personal genetics and genomics can do in terms of mapping a cancer and help find the cure.
Starts in a magazine article, and there you are. Very nice. Thank you, Michelle. All that mattered on